Okay, for this video, I decided to come to a different room because the other one where I do my videos is getting a bit of spring cleaning. But anyways, guys, it is about a few more weeks before the Somali Temporary Protected Status comes to an end on the 17th of March, 2026. As you already know, on the 13th of January, on or about that time, the Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem came and dropped that bombshell on the Somali community, and it caused some kind of chaos within Minnesota and elsewhere in the United States of America. But it was not just the Somalis that were a bit worried about that cancellation or termination, because African countries too were like, excuse us, what do you mean? Because we don't want these people here because of this attitude right here.
Somalis are hated everywhere. And I'm going to just say they're hated by losers, honestly. Because if you hate Somalis, you're literally a loser. Because how can you hate a people that are so creative, that are literally able to create magic from nothing, okay? To create excellence from being stepped on. Still we rise, still we shine. Somalis are the land of the rich, the land of poets, the land of the articulate. Somalis are entrepreneurs, they're creatives. The only people that hate us are the ones that cannot control us, because Somalis will not adapt. We do not adapt. That's true. That's true. We do not assimilate. We show respect to your culture, but we will not change ours. We show respect to your country, we will not forget ours. Wherever we go, we bring our culture, we bring our heritage, our religion. Somalis are Muslim, and that does not go with the world today. They want us to be very obedient. They want us to throw religion to, keep the religion in the mosques like they did to the churches. They want us to assimilate. The government should be our religion, our faith. Everything they say, we need to just accept it. Somalis are not like that, and that is why they hate us. And we know that. Somalis know that. So if you hate us as well, then we just look at you like you're very dumb. Actually, you're very dumb. We know why they hate us, because we have a backbone, because we have culture, because we have a personality, we have authenticity. That's why they hate us. And if they don't hate you, then you should be very worried. The way the world is moving today, if you're not hated, then you are the problem. And that's all I can say.
Okay, I think I'm just going to leave that superiority right there. That's exactly the reason why Africans are like, there is no way that when you are deported from the United States of America, you are going to come to my black African country where you are going to run away to. Because all of this that this lady is saying, it's funny how they are not putting it into practice in Somalia. This superiority has everything to do with delusional. They are so delusional. That is why African countries are like, well, because you think you're all that, you're superior, please go to Somalia because it's the greatest land on the African country. Do your thing. So I see this next video that I'm going to play to you of a Mauritian girl. She's a bit sarcastic, in case you are not catching it. She's been sarcastic about the Somalis, and here she is. Mauritius is one of those countries that I already started closing the door on Somalis. So here we go.
Let's talk about Somalis. I have never understood the hatred towards Somali people, and I'm not just talking about what's happening in the US right now. I'm going to talk about the hatred towards Somali people in continental Africa, but also within the African diaspora. If you don't know, I'm half Italian, but I'm also half Mauritian, and I grew up on the island of Mauritius. It's an African country by the coast of Africa. Hatred of Somali people is present within the continent of Africa. It's also present within the African diaspora. And I kid you not, a lot of criticism about Somali people stems from the fact that they have their own separate tectonic plate. No, I'm not joking. There's this idea that because Somalis have their own tectonic plate and are the Horn of Africa, that they think that they're superior to the rest of Africans and don't think they're one of Africans. I was made aware of this from a very young age, but I was even more so made aware of this when I went to Nairobi, Kenya for a speaking gig at the United Nations. No, it's not as cool as you think. We're like 60 delegates from separate African countries, and yeah, people had a lot to say about Somali people, and like half of it had to do with the fact that they had their own tectonic plate. And that's why I'll never understand the hate.
Oh yeah, that is the real time, right? The right there, it's the real time. It's 5:30 p.m. as I'm filming this video. So basically, she's saying that these people, they think they're all that. Well, she's using the metaphor of a tectonic plate, that they think they are in the world of their own. They don't need us, and now suddenly we are a option from being thrown out of the United States, and they want us to take them in. It's just not going to happen, unfortunately, because they have made it quite clear, and African people have actually accepted this for the longest time, where they deny being Africans, they deny being black, and we were like, do you, boo? If that's what you believe, then do you, boo? We are not going to come into your party and then crash it.
I don't care if I'm the first person to say this, but us Somalis are not black.
We don't care. We don't care. There's too much black in Africa to be worried about Somalis claiming not to be black or not. It's none of our goddamn business. We don't give a fuck whether you're black or not. Thank you. We don't care.
And now that you are in this predicament, how is it now suddenly we are your brothers and sisters on the African continent? So I can tell you right now, countries that are pushing back, because these are the countries that are doing well on the African continent. That is Kenya, that is Ghana, that is South Africa, and of course other bits of other African countries that are doing the level best to grow their economies, to grow their standing also on the global stage, because they want to be part of the global community, just like South Africa, Ghana, as well as Kenya are part of. And so we are obviously the first choice when they are deported from the United States to South Africa or to Kenya. Unfortunately for Kenya, Somalia is just in the back door, like just in the backyard, like literally a stone throw away. Then you are in Somalia from Kenya. Hence, the money that has been defrauded out of Minnesota was building big establishments in Kenya, because they couldn't do that in Somalia. So they picked a certain portion of Kenya. I think it's called Sicily. It's somewhere there, and they're building apartment buildings. Apparently, these are like your upper class and elite type of apartments, and they are making millions of dollars out of those apartments because they're already operational. And also, they are building streets. They're building basically a whole entire city in Kenya out of the money that has been defrauded from Minnesota. And I'm hoping that at some point that the United States government will go after these properties and repossess them, of course, with fact-finding mission to make sure that Kenya was unwittingly accepting these sort of developments from the Somali community. Now, as we already heard, most of them think that us are lazy. I mean, you know, the usual talking point. And there's a gentleman that I also want to show you that specifically attacking South Africa, and yet most of his people are here in South Africa, and those that are going to be running away from the United, not running away, being deported or packing up and leaving before the TPS comes to an end, their first choice in Africa will be South Africa. And this young man right here, he is speaking carelessly, and we are also having our eyes peeled and our ears on the ground if our government ever tried it. Here's this gentleman right here. Idiot.
I prefer living in Somalia than South Africa. You know, if you are there four in the family and the one of you travel to South Africa, one they make una forget that person. I'm telling you guys, South Africa is full of gangsters. I prefer living in Somalia all my life than visiting South Africa. If he pay you, go and hug transformer. Honestly, I prefer living in Somalia all my life than visit South Africa. West Africa, I don't want no. Stop going there. Their men are very lazy. They are full of gangsters. Don't go to South Africa to avoid Hadaino.
Oh, well, many South Africans are saying a good riddance, -1. We don't have to bother about this one. Even though I feel like he is saying all of this while he's here in South Africa. And he's just trying to mock or to provoke South Africans into reacting to his video. Because the word South Africa, in case you have not noticed and you're a content creator, if you use the word South Africa, you will gain a lot of views and a lot of money as well, if you do South African content. And the more positive you are, the I guess the better your chances of the algorithm favoring you. But people tend to misuse that, and without realizing that the more they talk about South Africa, the more they promote South Africa. I can bet you right now, if you type South Africa on your search page, it's going to show you the beauty of South Africa. Gangsterism, no. South Africa has a crime problem. And most of the crime problems is attributed to the fact that the entire African continent is coming to South Africa and there are no jobs to be provided to everybody. The greener pastures that everybody's coming for, they are realizing, oh, it's not as big as I don't know who promoted to them that way. And so some then resolve to committing crimes. And unfortunately, those crimes get attributed to the fact that they are happening in South Africa and therefore South Africa is dangerous. It's quite very funny because we are not denying that there is crime rates in South Africa that are ridiculous, but we are saying also that most of the crimes that are being committed in South Africa are imported with illegal aliens that are coming to South Africa. Some of these guys, by the way, they are trained soldiers. If you look at countries like your Nigeria and your Burundi, your even Sierra Leone and Liberia and all these other countries where everybody's running away to South Africa, these people once upon a time used to be child soldiers. Some of them even served in their own country's military, and for some reason they escaped and came to South Africa. Also, it's important to note that some of our African brothers and sisters that ran away to South Africa, they are fugitives of law back in their own countries. They ran away because they are facing the death penalty, or they are facing hard labor if they are sentenced and jailed. They are running away for all sorts of reasons. And when they get here, as you know, a leopard never changes a spot. So they continue where they left off in their countries of origin by committing crimes. And of course, these crimes get attributed to us. This is a young man right here. And I believe he's saying all of this in South Africa. And do you think he has a job? No, he doesn't have a job. Because South Africans are pushing back, he doesn't like that South Africans are pushing back, and therefore he's telling everybody that he would rather live in Somalia rather than in South Africa because South Africa has gangsters. So we like that because it kind of like also shows our government that don't dare bring these people to South Africa. If they did, we will take to the streets too, and we will demand for a referendum to call for new elections so that we remove the current government and put a government that is going to put South Africans first. And this is a call that is serious. A referendum will definitely be forced out of our president so that we vote them out if these Somalis come to South Africa, because they have nowhere else to go due to TPS being terminated by Kristi Noem. And also, I've seen other European countries saying, nope. And of course, Australia is also pushing back. And basically, most Australians are saying, go back and fix your country. There's nothing wrong in saying that. But no, 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 no. They do not want to hear all of that. So the Somali superiority is definitely getting challenged, and it's also biting them in the butt. Because if you think the way that you do, that way that lady I showed you in the beginning of this video, that they are the greatest, they're entrepreneurs, they're this, they're good. Why aren't you doing that back in Somalia? Now, another thing that I also found out in East Africa, this is where Kenya is. Kenya had opened its borders, by the way, and it's also invited some countries to for visa-free entry into Kenya. South Africa is one of the countries, even with us as well. We reciprocated that. Kenyans can come to South Africa visa-free. However, two countries on the African continent that Kenya said, no, thank you. Yeah, they backyard neighbors, Somalia as well as Libya. They said, sorry, we cannot do that because of security measures. Unfortunately, a Somali man that lives, and I think he might be British, British Somali, Somali British, I don't know whichever way. He was like shocked. He was clutching on his invisible pearls. Like, what do you mean? Nigerians are more dangerous than, well, he's saying the Somali president is less of a threat. This is what he says.
I don't get this. Kenya's announced visa-free entry for all African countries except for two. The two countries being Libya and Somalia. The reason being due to security threats. Like, I don't get it at all. Literally, most of Africa, yeah, is in some sort of instability, war-torn or humanitarian crisis type situation. Now, whether it was made by them, caused by them, is a different story. Regardless, in Nigeria, you got Boko Haram kidnapping school kids in that during half-term. In Ethiopia, they're going through famines and alleged G-sides and that. Literally, Sudan is in a civil war right now. In Burkina Faso, Mali, and Nigeria, they got T groups causing harm and stuff like, bro, like. So to be banning Somalia for security issues, it doesn't really make sense to me. Like, this guy is not a threat, fam. Literally, he's way safer than Boko Haram. He's much safer than quite a few people who you're giving visa-free access to your country, bro. It's ridiculous, fam. Ridiculous and hypocritical. We need some justice for Somalia, fam.
Well, he says he doesn't understand. Well, let's leave him to it. Let's leave him to it. But the point of this video is to show the people of the United States that you getting rid of them, we might actually be the ones that have to receive them. Unfortunately, there is a lot of progressive mindset or thinking amongst other people. And of course, the NGOs are dancing away because, you know, most of these NGOs, this is how they make their money. By having people like the Somalis that now are going to be kicked out of the United States and they have to become a burden to somebody else, and they go and collect millions of dollars so they are able to fly these so-called refugees to countries like my own. As I've said, our eyes are peeled and our ears are on the ground, and we are not accepting any Somali coming from the United States because we already have enough of them, and they think they are all that and some more. And we are not going to be having that superiority reigning in our country. If they feel this superior, then they need to go back home and build their country with that superiority, as well as the entrepreneurial mindset and hardworking and all these beautiful things that they say about themselves, because we don't want it here. We don't want it here. And I said it, I'm going to say it again. If our president accepts this, we're taking to the streets and we are going to demand for a referendum to call early elections. South Africa is due to national elections in 2029. In 2024, we had elections, and if they are going to provoke us by doing this nonsense, we are going to get rid of this government through a ballot paper. That's how we do it here in South Africa. If we have a situation, we fix our country, we do not run away. We come with solutions, we influence each other about that idea, and we executed and we get what we want at the end of the day. Just like our immigration has been overhauled because there are people like the Somalis and the Nigerians and Zimbabweans that are abusing our immigration laws. So we said, no, no more abusing it. So we overhauled it. We did our final submissions on the 15th of February to basically anybody that wants to be a South African will be invited by South Africans. It's no longer you living in South Africa for 5 years, and after 5 years, you qualify or become eligible for naturalization or get permanent residency. That has come to an end, and we are happy about that. So, anyways, let me leave this video right here before it gets way too long, and I don't want it to be that long, and get back to the spring cleaning on the other side. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for your support, and say no to illegal aliens in your country, and definitely hold them accountable, those that are stealing your tax money, and change that administration in Minnesota. It's got to go. I am that, and I'll see you next time with a new one. Goodbye.